During the Dallas Mavericks' recent loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, there was a lot of post-game commentary about how the Bucks installed a new defensive approach or a scheme under, new head coach Doc Rivers. They were able to practice for the first time the day before the game in Dallas since Rivers took over as the head coach. So this was an intriguing look at a team that is working through some, different personnel combinations, different scheme approaches. And with Brook Lopez sidelined, their primary rim protector, the Bucks went with more of a late double approach as the game went on against Luka Doncic, and even deployed Giannis Antetokounmpo quite often at the small ball 5 role. And, that caused some problems for the Mavs during this game. And I'm going to get right into all of that just to highlight how the Mavericks can improve after having a 25-point lead and then having their offense essentially stall in a unfortunate way for the remainder of regulation. The Bucks do an effective job of containing Luka Doncic on this handoff play. After an inbounds pass, he receives the handoff from Dwight Powell, and Bobby Portis is playing up and is holding long enough for Chris Middleton to get in front of Luka and use his length to crowd him on the potential pass. This does not give up a switch, which is the primary objective, what the Bucks were looking to do against Luka throughout this game as it went on. And Portis did a great job of backpedaling in time, recovering back to Powell, and gets a hand on this pass and blows it up for his teammate to come up with the steal. Early in this possession, with Luka initiating, he had a mismatch with Damian Lillard on him, a smaller guard. So he tried to get into a back down position to get the ball back. And the Bucks were adamant about doubling him when he had that mismatch. Chris Middleton, after Luka gets the ball back, doubles him. Luka gives the ball up with Derrick Jones attacking off the catch. And Bobby Portis does an effective job of rotating off of the dunker spot, tries to protect the rim. And this is just an awkward angle for Jones to try to throw a left-hand dunk down while he's still managing a wrist sprain. So this was an effective defensive approach from Milwaukee here. One of Milwaukee's strategies that they deployed in ball screen coverage when a wing like Tim Hardaway Jr. was the screener was to have a switch and then send a double team off of the screener. And in this play, Chris Middleton sends that double off of Tim Hardaway Jr. And here this should be a simple sequence for the Mavs. Tim Hardaway should be popping out back behind the three-point line. Doncic should be able to make a simple delivery, but it looked like they weren't on the same page in terms of where Hardaway was going to be. Doncic throws the bounce pass, and it goes between Hardaway's legs and sails out of bounds. This was another switch hunting attempt from the Mavs. They have Damian Lillard's man screen for Luka, which is Derrick Jones Jr., to get that switch. And Luka tries to get into a isolation here, tries to size him up off the bounce. Giannis comes for that late double from the strong side wing. So Luka makes the open pass, gets the ball moving, and the ball finds Josh Green. And the weak side low man is making a full concerted effort to contest, making that extra effort, and gets a hand up, contests Green's three, and the shot's flat and misses short. At this point, Luka Doncic was clearly expecting the late double to come after drawing that initial switch, but here he identified that it was going to come from Malik Beasley, not the defender that was initially involved in the screening action. And Beasley looked like he was going to come up to send that late double, but then as Doncic made the pass to Hardaway, he had great anticipation, getting a hand on the ball, and then this was off Tim Hardaway, went out of bounds, and was a turnover. When screening actions aren't creating advantages for Doncic, sometimes what he'll do is just attack the matchup that's in front of him early in the possession. Here he uses contact against Chris Middleton, lowers his shoulder, creates some separation, and goes right into a right-to-left crossover, explodes downhill going to his left, and then with his slow step approach deep on the drive, he's able to draw the strong side corner, Giannis Antetokounmpo, to help, and this creates a pass-out opportunity since Doncic didn't get into the finish and waited for the full commitment for Giannis off of the corner to be able to dart the ball over to Maxi Kleber, who's completely wide open for three, and this was just a theme for the Mavs after that really hot start to this game shooting the ball, was just a lot of clean looks that they were generating. Role players were not knocking them down. This possession, after the offensive rebound, this was a great example, or after the offensive rebound, this was a great example of the Mavericks' limitations from a spacing standpoint sometimes. The Bucks are shrinking the floor by pre-rotating the low man, Damian Lillard, off of Derrick Jones Jr. in the weak side corner, and they're packing the paint with Giannis guarding the ball, making it tough for Luka to be able to get to the rim with the crowd, and he ends up trying to play off two, fakes a pass, and tries to shoot a turnaround, but this shot is really short and grazes the front of the rim. The Mavericks tried to play out of a Horns flare set here with Luka Doncic initiating. Maxi Kleber was the focus of the flare screen with Derrick Jones setting, and Kleber flowed right into a decoy action on the weak side for a pin down as Derrick Jones comes up to screen for Luka, flips the screen to really force the switch for Damian Lillard, and Giannis did a great job here. He recognized that the decoy action wasn't something he needed to focus on, fully committed to helping, and was in a position to really throw off Luka's timing once he got to the restricted area and he missed the floater that he typically would make. This is not something you usually see from the Mavericks. Luka Doncic received a flare screen from Grant Williams, and he had the attention of 2 defenders on the catch, so he gets the ball to Williams, and the weak side defense of the Bucks did a great job of pressuring Williams on the catch. He tried to flip the ball right up to the rim on the catch after he received the ball in the paint, and he just wasn't expecting the defense to be there to pressure him, and threw him off and missed the finish. With the Bucks trying to hide Damian Lillard on Derrick Jones Jr., they got creative to force him into the action by starting out with double wide pin downs and using him as the first screener in double drag, flowing right into it. And Lillard switched onto Doncic. And with Maxi Kleber diving to the rim and Derrick Jones not getting out to the three-point line and his man helping at the nail, Luka went into a step back 3, knowing that was the cleanest shot he was probably going to get here. And his shot accuracy tapered off throughout the rest of this game after a hot start as well. And with spot-up shooters also struggling to hit, this was just a tough combination of poor three-point shooting overall as the Bucks were rallying to ultimately have the successful comeback. Luka ended up getting doubled in the post on this play, gave the ball up, and the ball popped around and then found Derrick Jones in the paint after a couple of passes. And the Bucks, when they're going small, are a very interesting defense because now it's Giannis, who's essentially a 7-footer with length, athleticism, is able to be in a rim protection position, stand still in the restricted area as Jones is trying to execute a finish and is unable to get the job done. With only Luka as the sole superstar on the floor, this is a situation where role players have to hit open shots. He gets Damian Lillard on a switch, backs him down, draws Giannis on the late double, and then throws it to Josh Green, who's open in the corner, and he misses the shot. The Bucks had a very intriguing approach on this play where Luka looked like, in the typical situation where he's attacking going left, he would get a Gortat screen from Dwight Powell to seal off the big defender in the sequence for Luka to get back going to his right for a finish, but the Bucks were adamant about sending him to his left. Giannis was, aggressive, had contact against him, and Middleton was really holding his own with contact against Dwight Powell, maintaining a position to prevent Doncic from having a clean drive, and Luka ended up just dribbling this ball off of his own leg and lost it, resulting in the turnover. It looked like his rhythm was disrupted with the Bucks essentially taking away the typical options. Luka began this possession off ball, but then flowed into a double drag screening action with Damian Lillard's man being the final screener to force the switch. And Luka thought he had a window of daylight to attack here. He went into a back down against a smaller guard and tried to make a spin going to his right, thinking he had the lane. And he lost control of the ball, regained it deep, but then was unable to finish against Crowder's contest and fell to the floor, and the Bucks go the other way. There were a few turnovers with Luka's release valve against doubles. Grant Williams screened for him, and then with the Bucks switching, there was a window of opportunity. Luka felt he had to get the ball to Grant Williams, and he essentially just fumbles it in the paint and then turns it over. And then on this next play, Maxi Kleber screens for him. Luka gets the switch and draws the double and tries to find Dwight Powell on the flash, but they're unable to connect, and the ball just sails over the top and results in a turnover. Even when the game was tied, Luka essentially was accepting the coverage where he was getting doubled when he had a back down position before getting the ball, and gave the ball up to his open teammates. And this was just a lot of poor execution on the rest of the unit's part. Maxi Kleber didn't drift to the corner quickly enough as Josh Green was getting the ball in the short roll. And this results in a shot that's not really his type of shot, where he's shooting on the move against a contest. He's offline there. Grant Williams had a series of shortcomings here. He had a wide open look after Luka drawed 2 on the back down on the weak side wing. This shouldn't really impact his Damian Lillard didn't make a serious attempt to contest, and Williams misses the wide open shot. And then this was just another blunder from him. He's wide open on the back end of the play in the corner, and then travels with indecision, and travels continuing to be indecisive on the catch without a plan to attack. And then Luka attacked baseline and drew Giannis, leaving Josh Green wide open, and Luka found him, and the shot was just offline. So just a series of plays when the Mavericks were unable to get stops consistently on the other end. They were coming up empty after Luka drew two, which tends to be a theme, especially when a superstar like Kyrie Irving is out, to reduce the options they have to attack the defense. The Mavericks try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo switched off of Luka on this play by having multiple ball screeners. Damian Lillard switched, but what ended up happening is the Bucks switched back by having Giannis take Luka. So Luka, after a lot of the shot clock had already winded down, ended up trying to attack Giannis, crossed him up, getting him to reach, setting up the attack hard right. But after he picked up his dribble against the strong side help, from the strong side help stunting, Luka was unable to complete the finish on this play on what he felt like was a foul with contact with Giannis trying to recover, but he didn't get the call. But Derrick Jones did clean up the miss for a successful made basket. Here's another instance of Luka attacking Damian Lillard after drawing a switch, trying to go right, and Giannis was waiting, ready to pressure, and Luka just tried to dart the ball to the weak side to Josh Green, and this pass wasn't accurate. Josh had to really jump to make this catch and try to save it from going out of bounds, and wasn't able to cleanly do so, and the Bucks were able to gain possession. If you watch this video all the way through, I appreciate you for doing so, and if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. There'll be plenty of content like this in the future.